Hello there YouTube, and welcome along to Steve's movie review, Scream! Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about Scream in today's YouTube video, because I've sat down and I've watched all 4 movies of Scream. I got recommended the Scream franchise by my friend Kieran, which is why I sat down and watched it, to be honest. It's actually films that I've never seen before. And I totally agree with him. You know, if you're new to the horror franchise, then I would definitely recommend that you start the horror franchise off by watching Scream, because it's definitely one of those films that kind of introduce you to the horror franchise. Obviously, it's not really too gory, you know, not too detailed injuries and stuff like that, you know, but I mean, I don't know, but I kind of feel as though the more recent Scream film, which is Scream 4, which was released in 2011, that one's a bit more detailed injury and a bit more gory in some ways, you know, but obviously this is a film that it started off in the 90s, pretty much, very late 90s, this film, you know, with the first Scream film. To be honest, the really funny thing is, as well, is with the Scream films, there's another film called Scary Movie, which obviously, you know, if you haven't watched Scary Movie before, then it's not scary, it's kind of a, you know, it's just a jokey film. That film is Scary Movie. That franchise is, yeah, it likes to parody other films, obviously other horror franchises. And in Scary Movie 1, they do parody Scream all throughout that film. So yeah, and also as well, I did enjoy Scary Movie, which I'm really surprised that, you know, because I watched Scary Movie, it hasn't made me go, you know, I should really sit down and watch Scream. You know, I mean, I've watched other masked killers movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween, so I'm very surprised again. This is another horror genre or horror franchise that's included with a masked killer, which I've never sat down and watched before until now. So anyway, so I did enjoy Scream. You know, I mean, obviously, like I say, you know, I'm not going to give too much away about these movies, because obviously if you are new to the horror franchise and are looking to watch something that's not got gore in it, that hasn't really got too much detailed injury in it, then definitely give Scream a watch, because it's definitely a movie that can kind of introduce you to the horror franchise. But what I can say is, with all 4 movies, I'm gonna say there was really funny moments in it. And I'm just gonna say another thing as well. Well, actually no, I'm gonna say 2 things. The first thing is, in Scream 2, there's a scene at the beginning of the film where these 2 characters, they go into a cinema to watch what is being called Stab. And I'm going to talk about Stab in a minute, because that's a very vital thing I want to talk. There's a little secret about Stab, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second. But yeah, anyway, so these 2 characters at the beginning of the film, they go and see this film called Stab in the cinemas, which is kind of basing on the true story events that kind of happened in the first Scream film. Anyway, so the guy goes off, he goes to the bathroom, goes to the toilet, and all of a sudden, in this cubicle next to him, he hears these really funny noises. So he puts his ear really up close against the cubicle. Next thing you know, he gets stabbed straight in the cheek. You know, and Ghostface comes back, who is the masked killer. He comes back with the guy's jacket on, and he sits next to his girlfriend in the cinema, who he's with. And then all of a sudden, his girlfriend touches his jacket and it's all bloodied. And then all of a sudden realises that this is a killer. and then obviously ends up getting stabbed multiple times in the cinema. Now, that also is another scene that gets parodied in Scary Movie, which is really weird because a lot of the scenes that I saw from Scream were parodied in Scary Movie. It was only when I saw the second Scream film that I realised, oh wait, yeah, that cinema scene is also parodied in Scream 2. So, yeah, so anyway. Also as well, I must say, you know, that there was moments, like, especially during the fight scenes, but I just don't know why. I just couldn't take any of the fight scenes with Ghostface or any of the characters really serious. I'm like, come on, you're fighting a masked killer here, you know, just take the mask off. Yeah. I mean, it's just hilarious to watch. It's just, you know, a masked killer going around and fighting all these different characters in the film. It's just bizarre and just really weird. You know, I find that with all the masked killer films, so it's not just the Scream. I find it the same with Halloween and with Friday the 13th as well. So Scream isn't the only one where I'm there laughing at scenes where these characters are fighting masked killers. But anyway, I have also watched Scream 4 as well, which again is quite a good film actually. I'm not gonna lie, you know, again it has that comedy side to it, but also as well I feel as though this is probably the most goriest out of all the Scream franchise there is, you know. And I also want to say that I feel as though it's got a lot more killings. I thought Scream 3 did, but clearly I was wrong. I think Scream 4 does. I think Scream 4 has more killings in it than what Scream 3 does, you know. So, anyway, I want to talk about Stab, okay, because that's another thing. So, and this is actually a true story. I've read this somewhere. But the movie Scream was originally going to be called Stab. It actually was going to be called Stab, but I think there was reasons as to, I can't remember the reasons why. I remember reading this as an article online. Might have been about a year, maybe 2 years ago now. I have read articles about Scream, but it's only up until now that I've actually watched the movies. It's weird, isn't it? But yeah, and so yeah, there was reasons as to why the film couldn't be called Stab, but instead it got called Scream. But it's nice to know there's that Easter egg all throughout the second, third and fourth films that are titled Stab when the movie itself was originally going to be called Stab. It's bizarre. But, you know, so there's a fun fact for you. Another Easter egg that I spotted was in the first Scream film. There's a scene where this police deputy officer or someone like that, he ends up getting killed in this film. But basically there's a knock on the door and he looks and no one's there. And then he goes back to what he's doing and then he receives another knock. So again, he goes to the door, no one's there. So this time he goes and investigates. And he ends up saying something as he opens this door. And he finds a janitor. Now this janitor is an Easter egg. Because basically this janitor is there in the hallway cleaning the floor, mopping the floor. And literally it's one of those blink and you'll miss it. Okay? Because what I noticed within that, literally that split 1 or 2 second shot of this janitor is that he's wearing a red and brown stripy jumper. And also as well, his name is Fred, right? This janitor is called Fred. Now, this red and brown stripy jumper is an Easter egg, and I'll tell you why. Because, right, this janitor, well, this guy is a janitor. His name is Fred. He's wearing a brown and red stripy jumper. Who else is a janitor and his name is Fred and also wears a brown and red stripy jumper? Who else does that? It's Freddy Krueger. Literally, that was paying homage to Freddy Krueger. I can't believe that. So, you know, so there was a little Easter egg there which I spotted straight away within after the first time of watching the film, you know, which was nice. You know, they reference Shaun of the Dead in Scream 4. They reference Halloween as well in the original Scream film. They even sit down and watch the original Halloween film as well in a scene in Scream. You know, it's just such a good movie. I can't believe it's only taken me up till now to watch this movie, because it is such a good movie, honestly. And there are reports circulating online that in 2021 there's going to be a 5th film in the franchise, Scream 5, and if there is, and some of the original actors from the first 4 films are going to be reappearing in those films. So if that's the case, I'm definitely next year going to go to the cinema and watch Scream 5 if it does come out next year. You know, because it is such a good franchise now that I've actually sat down and watched those movies. And I do know that there is a Scream series on Netflix as well, which I am going to sit down and watch. And who knows, maybe later this year I might do a separate YouTube video and I'll do a review on the series of Scream and let you know my thoughts and opinions on that. But honestly, it is such a good movie. I really did enjoy it. So definitely recommended if you are gonna try and introduce yourself to the horror franchise. The movies that I got introduced to the horror franchise, I would probably say I started off with Chucky. I started off with Child's Play. I don't know why, you know, and also as well, I'd kind of say Scary Movie as well. I kind of I got introduced to Scary Movie when I was a lot younger, but I remember screaming the house down after watching one scene from Scary Movie 2, which was actually the opener to Scary Movie 2. But watching it back now, today, it's actually like, actually that scene's pretty funny, you know? It is a pretty funny film. And again, that kind of introduced me to the horror franchise, really, again. Even though it kind of takes the mickey out of the horror franchise, but again, it's one of those films that I've kind of sat down, watched and gone, let me explore the horror franchise a little bit further, which is what I did with Child's Play, etc, etc, which is why I now sit down and watch a lot of horror films today. So there we go. So that's my thoughts and opinions on the Scream movies. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, then please hit the thumbs up button down below, and if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button down below, and of course hit the bell button afterwards as well, because obviously you will get notified on your smartphone and tablet as to when I next upload my next YouTube video. So that is all from me. Thank you for watching. Do join me in my next movie review when I'll be talking about the Jaws franchise, because that's the next movies that I'll be watching. I'll talk to you guys about that. But from me though, it's goodbye. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video.